Hello there makers, it is Jo from Minerva and we are continuing with our lingerie series and we're on episode 9. Today we're going to make an underwired bra, so we'll be referring back to some of the bra making techniques that we've already covered, but today I'm going to concentrate on showing you how to put a wire in and how to make a channeling for an underwired bra. The pattern that I'm using at the moment is Simplicity 8229, which is a simple underwired bra. It's probably one of the easiest ones that you can try, and there are matching knickers with this pattern. You can make this bra without putting the wire in, but use the bra channeling as a sort of support stay for having cups without a wire underneath. With underwire bras, you're looking for much more of a fit than you would be if you're making a stretch bralette or something that's quite stretchy with stretch fabric. You can use a stretch fabric here, or you can use a more sturdy one, which is a woven fabric with a little bit of give, but then you will definitely need to make a toile. If you're making an underwire bra and you've made a few bras up until now, you'll probably have an idea of some of the things that you'd like to change. But things to look out for when you make a toile are your band elastic and the band width. So if your back band is rising up a little bit, then your band is too loose and your straps will be taking the weight of your bust rather than your band. So your band needs to be taking the bulk of the weight and your straps just really need to be holding the cups in place. So if your strap is going up, it means the weight is coming forward. So make sure that your band is horizontal across your rib cage. It's really difficult when you make a toile unless you put all of the findings and all of the elastics onto your bra to try it on, because without the full tension you won't know if it fits or not. So it's a good idea to plunder some things off an old bra, take a closure off an old bra, take sliders and rings off an old bra. Save your good stuff for when you make your final bra, that once you've decided what size you'd like to make. There will be a few referrals today, so if you want to know how to layer your power net and your fabric together with the temporary glue, you need to go back to one of the other bra episodes. If you want to know how to make straps with sliders, you can check out the episode 6 with the Jolly vest, or you can also look at the bralette ones. If you want to make sure that you're getting your closure correct on the back, a little bit more detail is given for applying that in episode 8. And if you want to just review how you put elastic on, how you put a picot elastic on, then you can go back to either the bralette episode or our knicker episodes to make sure that you can get your elastic on without stretching your garment. Today, we're really going to concentrate on how to put that underwire piece on our bra. The fabric that I'm using today is a chiffon. It's a stretch chiffon. So you can get a sort of nude bra. There's other colours available. But when it comes, it's really, really silky and soft. Really soft to the touch. It's sheer. And that's the selvage. And you will get quite a bit of stretch in the length grain and a little bit less in the cross grain. And you will need to work this fabric with a power net, which we've used in some of the other episodes. So a power net is a sheer fabric. It's really strong. It's got a high elastane content. And you can use that to line the back of a really fine fashion fabric. The way to do that is to use the temporary glue, which I've shown in a previous episode, and you create a piece of fabric with the 2 layers. So the power net is on the back and the fashion fabric's on the top, and it acts as one piece. If you want to use a non-stretch fabric, then you can try a chantilly lace. The good thing about lace is there's always a little bit of give because of all the holes, so you will get a little bit of stretch in one direction, so you can use the direction of greatest stretch when you're cutting out. And again, you can line that with a power net, and these come in different colours. This one's stable in the length, and this one has its stretch in the width. So depending on what cup shape you want, you can use the power net alongside a stable fabric, and you can get a stretch going across so that you can get fullness from your bust, but it will be stable from top to bottom. Chantilly lace isn't expensive, so you can get a piece and you can probably make 2 bras out of your one piece. So make sure you've got enough to make your toile and the one you're going to finish up with at the end. There's different elastics that go with this bra, so you will need an underband elastic for your rib cage, you'll need the shoulder elastic, and you'll need a picot elastic or a fine elastic if you've got a scalloped edge. So all of those bits and pieces, the sliders and the rings and everything, I've listed over on Minerva's website. So if you check out Simplicity 8229, when you choose the pattern, you'll see the sew along and you will see all of the materials listed below. While I'm making this bra, and if I'm making any bra, I always try to keep the original orientation of the bra on the table. So you'll see the whole time that I'm sewing that I'm keeping the left cup on the left, the right cup on the right, and I'm keeping them as opposite. So then I'm making sure that I'm not going to get any pieces the wrong way around, or I put things right side to wrong side to right side, and that I don't make 2 left cups or 2 right cups. And it's a really good habit to have if you're making any kind of lingerie. Try and keep it in the shape that you want to see it, so that you know that on the table that what you're looking at is what you're sewing. You can still use this pattern even if you don't want underwires, because the pieces underneath will act as a stay for just having the cups on their own. So continue to watch even if you're not quite at the underwire stage of making in your lingerie sewing. Your machine setup needs to be with a Gutterman thread, and you will also need to have quite a small stitch length. So go down to stitch length 2 if you're using lighter fabrics like lace or stretch chiffon or anything that's power mesh, any of those sort of fabrics. A smaller stitch length means that it won't pucker up so much. You can also avoid puckering by having a ballpoint needle in your machine. It's always a good idea to have little test pieces and scraps that you've collected at the cutting stage, so that you can have a practice to get your stitches as accurate as you can before you start making. I haven't shown the cutting out process today because they're quite small pieces, and we've done that in a previous episode, so we're ready to start making the cups. Once you've cut the pieces, you need to make sure that you mark the notches. There's only a 6mm seam allowance on this pattern, so don't cut your notches too big. You just need a tiny little snip on each side. And you'll need to do this because once you take the paper pieces off, you really won't know which way round these pieces go. You need to mark for other points, so there's some dots to mark. And once you've marked the notches, even if you drop your pieces or mix them all up, you can use the notches to find the correct pieces. Pin the notches and then work your way out to the edges. This is a curved shape, so you're going to need to ease in some of the fabric. You do the same for the other side. I like to keep my work in the position of the bra, so keep checking that I've got 2 opposite bra cups. Sew them together with a 6mm seam allowance. Keep it all trimmed and nice and tidy, and make sure you've got that 6mm seam allowance. That will keep your bust cups the correct size. You can top stitch that, you can do a zigzag, I've used a lightning stitch, and then you can think about how you're going to finish the edge. If you've got a scalloped edge fabric, then you will need to use a elastic on the reverse and run that along the edge of the scallop so that the scallop sticks out. If you've got a bigger bust and you want a little bit more coverage, you can use a stretch lace and attach that around the upper cups with a zigzag stitch, or you can use a picot elastic, and you'll need to make sure that you don't take too much fabric, otherwise you'll reduce the size of your cups. I've just taken a small allowance there, zigzag, taken it in 2 passes and zigzagged the same as the cup top stitching. and I've made them both the same. On the inside you should have that seam all enclosed and your double zigzag on the picot edge. It's a good idea to use a matching thread on your upper spool and a matching bobbin thread for your elastic on the back. Now we're going to move on to the bridge. We need to make sure that we stabilise the front part there right at the middle of the bridge so that it doesn't gape. At the top of your bridge, fold down the seam allowance, give it a little finger press, and you're going to put a little piece of elastic on there. This is a 6mm elastic. Pin it in place. And take a zigzag stitch through all of the layers. That keeps the bridge from being saggy. Right, it's time to put in the cups. This is where those little marks come in now. So on the bridge we've got a little spot and we've got one on the cup to match up. At the end you need to have your little ear of fabric sticking up. If you match those up, you'll get a funny kick on the side. So you need a little sort of 6mm ear sticking out the end, and that keeps a straight seam. Continue to pin, match up the centre front. Make sure that elastic is lined up really neatly and ease in the rest of the cups. It's important here to take the correct seam allowance around the cup edge, because you will need that seam allowance to put your bra wire channeling in. Sometimes it looks a little bit wrinkly, but when you put the wires in it will all stretch back out. Don't clip the curve because you need that fabric to allow you to put in the channel for the underwire. You just need to make sure the centre matches up without any bulk. The third stage is to make the side bands, and here I have added another layer of power net so that I get a little bit of extra strength so the sides don't collapse when they're under tension. The side bands also need to be lined. If it's a bit too stretchy and you think it might collapse, you can add another layer of lining on the back with the spray glue and add another layer. It gives it a little bit more strength, and you need to match up the notches. I've added another layer here, but I've got the stretch going in the stronger direction, so it should give my the sides of my bra a little bit more support. Just trimming that up so it's all really nice and accurate. You can see it's a lot stronger now than it was before. There's the double notch. Match that up with a side seam. Pin and take the 6mm seam allowance that we've been using throughout. Sew these sides and also top stitch. I've done the same lightning stitch that I did along the bra cup fronts. It's all enclosed on the back, and that makes for a really strong side, and these are matching. To finish the edge of the side bands, we're going to put a picot elastic on using the same methods that we've been using throughout the lingerie series with 2 passes, and that matches the front neckline. Zigzag on your first pass, but don't do the second one yet. Stage 4 is the bulk of today's learning, so we're going to have a look at putting in a bra channeling using a bias binding. So the reason you only put the one piece of elastic on is so that when you fold it over for the second pass, you encase the end of the underwire. You need to make sure the end of this is really neat and you don't have a raw edge sticking up. And you can buy channeling, but I've just used a piece of bias binding. So line up the bias binding with the seam of the cup. Have a little bit extra hanging over the end for handling and pin that in place. So you're pinning the edge of the folded binding with the cup seam. And you can see it will fold over and create a casing. Cut your casing bias to length. Start sewing about 1 centimetre from the ends. You've got a little bit of room to fold over your elastic, you'll see in a moment. Now that we've attached it to the seam allowance, we can fold it over and make the actual channeling. You'll need to pin that in place. You need to leave a little bit of handling room at the top for when you do the second pass of elastic. And keep that curve without wrinkling any of the bra band or bridge underneath. So you need to make sure you haven't got any puckers on the right side. If it goes like that, you need to re-pin it. You need it to be nice and flat. At the centre front, you just need to make sure that everything is enclosed. So I'm just using a little bit of glue to fold that down, and then I can make a really neat finish at the end. The two bra channels should fold and meet exactly at the front. Continue to keep all of your bra casings flat, and it's a good idea to tack this so that you can make sure that it doesn't slip out of place. When I sew it, I'll be stretching it a little bit. The tacking helps as a sewing line. If you've got a bit of a long bra channel at the end and it's interfering with the elastic fold over, just trim those. When you sew it, you need to sew nice and slowly, really close to the edge, because you need room for the wire. Keeping the fabric nice and flat. I'm running the foot against the seam edge for a guide, because it doesn't matter if it's not quite equal on the back. You want it to look an equal distance from the front. Don't worry that it's wrinkled. Okay, you're going to match your cup size for your wire selection. And even though the wires come in a particular shape, you can alter them. So you can bend them, you can press them in. If you warm them up with a hairdryer, they're a little bit more pliable. But you want, on this particular bra, the short end to be at the front edge and this straighter edge mimicking the sort of side of the bra. On the back of the bra, we have this end, which we've enclosed already, and this end that we've left open. So we can insert the wire into the casing, or if we've got bra channeling. And that is why we didn't sew to the end, because now we can fold that down and complete our second pass of the underarm elastic, and at the same time we'll be closing up the channeling. If you're using ready-made channeling, then here you would just have zigzagged on the end. Same for the other side. If you need to trim any more off, just make sure that you don't trim it below your elastic fold over line. When you're ready to finish the lower end of the bra, the lower edge, then that may be the time that you'd like to do a little bit of a try on before you make the rest of the straps and everything, but you will need to put the closure on, and you'll need to just tack the straps on so that you can get the bra under tension to really check the fit. Before you commit to your bra band width and elastic, you need to make sure that your closure is going to fit on the end. So if you want to go back to how to put closures onto bras, then you can go back to episode 8. I just want to check that that's going to be the right width before I apply the elastic. Yep, I'm happy with that. So that's the correct place to put my elastic. You need to make sure that your lower band elastic doesn't interfere with your underwire. So when I flip that back, it's going to touch that bra band. So I need this to be grading out a bit. So that the bra band sits just below the underwire. That will mean that when I sew this on in the first pass, I'll be making sure that this end is the length that I've measured for my closure, and then I grade to give myself a little bit more room. Need to make sure that I don't have loads of elastic showing. And you can continue to add your bra band. Make sure you don't stretch your bra band when you sew it on. If you want to put a tiny bit of stretch in the centre there, that will just stop that flaring out. If you've got quite a hollow sort of breastbone, then that can sometimes be a little bit flary in the middle, but you won't know until you've made your toile and you're sure of your general bra fit features. The next stage is to put on the straps. On this bra, the rings are on the back and they are sewn to the front. In a previous one, the rings were on the front. Sometimes you see it one way or the other. If you have the rings on the back, then the sliders are on the back. If you have the rings on the front, you'll have 2 layers of elastic at the front, so you can adjust by reaching while you've got it on. If you've got the rings on the back, then you'll need to take it off to make the adjustments. So you can switch that around if you want to, but on this bra, the rings are on the back and it's attached at the front. You put the slider on the end of the elastic with 2 rows of straight stitching. You need a 5 centimetre piece of elastic to hold the ring on the back. Slide the ring onto your little tab. And there's a marking on the pattern, or you can make your own placement. And pin your tab in place at the angle which gives you the best bra strap. You need to zigzag really close right on the edge of that elastic. If you do it too low down, then the top rolls over. There, look, you can see it's pulling from the top. Take your strap with the wrong side of the bra and the wrong side of the strap and take it through the elastic from the band up, through the sliders. So you're pulling the elastic away from the bra. Ring, slider, and the raw edge should be on the inside. Attach the raw end of the shoulder strap to the bra cup at the front. You can zigzag that and then you can cover that over with a little bow. So from the back you've got your flat closure. You don't want any sort of pleats in here. You've got your inside seam attached down with top stitching. Straps are attached at the front. You've got a little tab here holding the ring on. You've got your bra casing here, and from the front see your top stitching. You can always put a bow on the front if you want to match it all up, and there's 2 on the straps there. This is really key. You need to make sure you have the right elastic bandwidth to give support to your bra. I hope you've enjoyed today and it's whet your appetite to maybe move your bra making on a little bit. I would say from a simplicity pattern, the 2 that I've tried during this series, they've both been quite small. I've made the largest of the cup sizes available, and one was okay. This one, the cup size really wasn't quite big enough, and that was a D cup. So if you're looking for a larger cup size, then I suggest you go and check out Booby Traps, which is a designer available on Minerva's website. There's a much more inclusive size range there, a huge range of features and designs as well, some like lace and wired and non-wired, a really big range to go and check out. The bra that I've made today was the D, or even the double D, I can't remember now, it was the largest one that I could do, and it's still, even though I was really accurate with the seam allowances, it's not a big enough cup size. The channeling was really good, so I used the bias binding. You can use bra channeling, and I managed to get the closure on really nicely. Just got to finish that where I was putting on the straps. So today's bra really showcases the pattern if you want a smaller cup size, and this fabric, which might not be something that you newly stocked, but it's got a really nice stretch and it makes a really smooth cup bra. If you make anything, we would love to see what you've been up to, so do make a free account with us, share your makes over at Minerva and inspire other Minerva makers. We've got 1 episode left, which is episode 10, where we're going to make a corset, and I'm going to show you how to put boning into a corset in the channels. We would love to see you there, so do come back. In the meantime, see you soon.